The other day I was at a game store and I came across this Wii, and I really had to get it. And it's not my first Wii, I've had many Wiis over the years, and actually my favorite Wii that I like to play on is this red 25th Anniversary Edition Wii, which I do boot up every once in a while and play on. It's a lot of fun. But what was unique about this Wii was the controllers it came with. And I want to talk about my various Wii controllers I have in my collection here, and this very unique controller I came across. So to start with, let's talk about just the standard Wii controller, which I think everybody has, and then you can add on the Wii Motion Plus onto the bottom of that. Just like that. Now I also have a Wii Motion Plus controller with this stick here, and I love to play on this Wii controller. Actually goes like that. And I love to play on this one with a lot of different games, and have been playing like Resident Evil here with it. In addition, I have a PDP Fight controller, and this is the Zelda version of it. There are multiple editions, including a Mario and a Wario. I think there's also a Yoshi version. This is the Link version, and it acts very similar to a GameCube controller. It looks a lot like a game controller, in fact, with a couple slight differences where this is the C, and this actually has the full Fight Stick joystick here, thumbstick. And this has the full thumbstick here, as well as the home and buttons and the minus, plus, minus. A standard GameCube controller just plugs into the top of the Wii here, so you can play GameCube games. But I have found that this Fight Stick also works with the backwards compatible GameCube games when you're playing them on the Wii. What makes this really nice is I can sit far away from my TV because it simply plugs into the bottom of a Wii controller. Just like that. And then I can just set that there and play. Really pretty awesome. Now these are the first-party controllers that I have. Let's talk about the third-party controllers. Now there are multiple wands, like the Rock Candy wand here. It's a little bit different than a standard Wii where the buttons are offset. And then the plus and minus buttons are on the side here. But otherwise this is very much similar to a standard. In fact, actually the home button is way up here. Otherwise it is kind of very similar. Given that, now there is also a Nyko, which comes with its own wand here and just the standard buttons, and this one is much closer. It's just the buttons happen to be square instead of round. Now the last third-party controller I want to talk about, which is the reason I actually picked up this Wii here, is this controller. Now this controller is called a Controller Pro U, and it works with a standard Wii as well as the Wii U. I have tested it, and I can confirm that this works really well with a standard Wii. On the back of it, you have a controller, you have some options here. One of them is you can slide it over, and it'll register to the Wii as if it was a wand. Or you can move it over to controller, and then it will register to the Wii as if it was a Pro Controller, kind of similar to what this one here has registered with the Wii. What I really like about this Wii, though, is this little classic design. And if you take a look at it, in fact, I'm going to go ahead and grab a classic NES controller and just put them side by side. And you'll see that there's a lot of similarities. First, just the rounded edges match the D-pad. The buttons here are aligned to a SNES controller, as well as the buttons here. This is actually concave and these are convex, very similar to what we have here. And then you have the left and the right on the top. So really pretty cool classic style for those who have the nostalgia there. And what really makes this controller stand out for me is on the very top here, you will notice that it does have the IR receiver, similar to what a wand does. So this controller, I can actually move up and down and around the screen and then select a game to go ahead and launch it. And then I can use these for the D-pads for moving and navigating in the game and play. So it's really the best of both worlds. Now let's go ahead and test it out with a game and see if it really is responsive, and it does actually perform as I would expect it would. The game I'm going to go ahead and play is the Resident Evil 4 Wii Edition, which I will go ahead and test out with a standard wand. I'll play it with the Fight Stick, and then I will play it with this Wii Pro Controller U. Let's get started. I have everything set up and the screen capture going on the Wii and the game ready for loading. Now, before I get started, one thing that I didn't mention in the video earlier was that I actually also have this Wii controller which plugs in, and it behaves about the same as the PDP Fight Controller. It's just not quite as nice to hold. It's not bad. The analog sticks are located in a little bit different of a spot, where these are diagonal, these are straight across. But other than that, the Wii controller and then the D-pad is up here. And the button placements are obviously a little different on the A and the B and the X and the Y versus that. So the overall button layouts are different, but it's not bad. It actually plays pretty well depending on what classic game you're playing. So let's get started here. I'll go ahead and load up Resident Evil.
Resident Evil 4.
Put the wrist strap on, since I'm using this controller here. And this game does require the Nunchuk, so I'll go ahead and attach the Nunchuk now, bottom. I'm going to start off the game with just the standard Nunchuk before switching over to the game pads. So let's go ahead and click on New Game here and get started.
Resident Evil 4.
I'm going to skip over all of the cutscenes here. If you want to see the full cutscenes, there are some full play videos out there, or you can play yourself here. Okay, I'm spinning. Okay, not sure what was loaded there, but it seems to be working now. So I'm just aiming with the Wii remote and walking with the Nunchuk. So that's knife, slash, and then run. So knife is the C and then run is Z. Okay. Let's see what he's got to say.
I was wondering if you might recognize a girl in this photograph?
¿Qué carajo estás haciendo aquí? ¡Lárgate, cabrón!
He's not happy.
Sorry to have bothered you.
Freeze! I said freeze! Nice.
Okay, the window is my only choice. Handgun ammo there. Head down this road. I'm going to go ahead and save at this point. I think it's a good time probably to go ahead, now that I've saved, switch controllers and try the next controller. So the next controller I have here is the Wii PDP Fight Pad. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect. I don't know if I can do this mid-game or not, what it will do. It'll detect that a new controller is connected, or if I have to reset. So this is on. It looks like it's not doing anything on the screen there, so let's go ahead and see how this works. I'm getting nothing. So don't think that I can switch. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick reset. Maybe I can just do that and come back in and see if that works. Yeah, actually it looks like just by doing that it's registered the new controller. There's some, now I gotta figure out all the controllers here. So that's knife, there's aim, and maybe not quite as nice here because I don't have that target. And then it's A shoot. Yeah, this is a much more difficult to actually aim, per se, because I don't have... There's the little red dot. So there it goes. So I just got to line that red dot up. And then run. Run is going to be B button, so yeah. Take the hand grenade, sure. Oh, the poor little puppy dog here needs help. Alright. I just completed that last part of Resident Evil with this fight controller. And now I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the Pro controller that I have here, which is the wireless Pro controller, Controller Pro U. Now I have it selected on the back here to be the controller and not the Wiimote. So I'll go ahead and get started. When I do set it to the Wiimote, the game doesn't actually want to start because it wants me to connect a Nunchuk. And there is nowhere on this controller to actually connect a Nunchuk. So let's go ahead and get started.
Resident Evil 4.
Now I am using the sensor here to navigate around the screen. And I don't have a wrist strap, so let's go ahead and skip past this. I did restart the Wii, as you'll notice here, that I want this to be the controller slot 1. And so the way I had to do that was restart the Wii so that this one is no longer connected. And we'll get started. I'll go ahead and start from a save point here. And jump over here. Now this part is much more of a puzzle and not as much of combat as the last part that I was playing. What I'll need to do is collect these medallions. Let's sneak up on him. The thumbsticks on this controller are a little bit stiffer than the ones that are on the Fight controller, so it's taken me a minute to get used to that. Press A as fast as I can. When it's on the actual Wii controller, I have to actually shake the controller. And I did not press it fast enough. I need a turbo button on here. Now that I have played Capcom's Resident Evil 4 using the 3 different controllers on the Wii, I want to give my opinion. First, the good. The Wand controller and Nunchuk play very well on this game. I really like the controls and the camera movement that the developers put into this edition of the game. Waving the controllers around for the melee attacks and aiming the trigger for the projectile attacks was well done. For the Fight Stick controller, I like the oversized A button and the classic game controller feel. The thumbsticks are responsive and the spring tension is just right. The wireless controller Pro U feels much more like a modern controller. I really like that it's completely wireless and that it has every button that you need all in one controller. Now for the bad. I don't have a lot to say about this controller. I had the weird issue where the stick drifted when I first started, but that never came back. I know not everyone is a fan of these controllers, but I do like the immersive effect of the pointing and clicking. There are a lot of games that don't work well, but I think they got the controls and the camera right on Resident Evil 4. The Fight controller, honestly, it's so different than any other controller scheme. I'll keep it for GameCube games, but it's not a controller layout I prefer. What are your thoughts? Do you like the GameCube controller? I've never owned or played a real GameCube. It's a part of gaming history I completely missed. This controller is one that I really wanted to like. It has a lot of great ideas, but the thumbstick tension is too stiff. For games that support the wand, it doesn't play well because the wand is designed for one hand, and this controller requires 2 hands. There's no way to connect or register a Nunchuk, and if you could assign a thumbstick to Nunchuk, maybe that would work well. As a controller, it's decent, although many of the standard controller-based games I can play on Xbox or PlayStation and get the higher resolution gameplay with the HDMI port. My final opinion is that it was a bit of a letdown. I'm glad to own it, but it's not the best Wii controller. When playing games on the Wii, I think the original wand and Nunchuk is the best experience. What are your thoughts? Let me know your opinion in the comments below. And if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to see all my new video uploads. Thanks!